This is kind of nerve-wracking, actually. I wasn't scared until I pressed like record, and now I'm a little bit nervous, especially because I'm like half naked.
It's 4 o'clock.
It's 4 o'clock, which is actually pretty normal for my channel. For those who are wondering, this is henna. Follow my Instagram, universal.hobo, because sometimes I like to henna myself, and I spent like 45 minutes putting henna on my body, which is really weird. So I wanted to talk about my eating disorder journey and more like an update. So I had body dysmorphia in high school. The way I viewed myself was completely different than like how I actually was. Now when I look at old photos of myself, I'm like, wow, I was so skinny in all those photos. Like, I just saw myself in a complete different light, and I think it was because I had all these negative thoughts about myself. I kind of like projected them onto the image of myself that I saw. I didn't like myself, so I didn't like the way I look. Like, I didn't feel attractive. And at the time, being super skinny was like what was attractive. So if I didn't feel attractive, I thought it was because I wasn't skinny enough. And I know that's fucking crazy for some of you guys to think, because like I am such a small, look at me, I'm like a twig. And like, I've been called twig, I've been called chopstick, I've been called toothpick, I've been called matchstick. Still struggled with those thoughts and views of myself. It didn't help that I was starting out on Instagram and seeing all these beautiful models. Honestly, like being a high schooler, already struggling with depression and anxiety and body dysmorphia, like to me, as soon as I started Instagram, I just was like, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not skinny enough, you know, I don't have big enough boobs. It was weird because I wanted to be a twig, even though I was, but I wanted to have like, you know, like big boobs, or I wanted to like have boobs. And I think it was all more so about the ideal image of a woman. And at the time, a woman was a skinny waist, you know, big bust. And now beauty standards are changing, and I'm actually like really happy about it. And I hate to admit that the way I viewed myself and the way I view myself now is changing, because the beauty standards are changing. Now everybody wants to get thick, everybody wants to have big hips, everybody wants to have a big bust, everybody is embracing their curves, everybody's embracing their rolls, everybody's embracing their skin. And I think, first of all, like, it's amazing that we are coming to this point. It has helped me, and I wish I could say that like, oh, my eating habits and the way I view myself has changed because, you know, I put the work into it. I obviously did put work into it, but really it is how society has viewed us women and our bodies is now changing. Like our ideal woman is now changing. I changed the way I viewed myself because the world changed the way they viewed women, and now I've been like focusing on getting thick. And to me, this is a huge milestone, because before, when I was in high school, I just like didn't want to have any fat on me. Like if I had fat on me, I wanted it to be my boobs. Was on these Instagrams that were all pro Anna, where they would motivate each other to starve themselves or to continue with their bulimic habits. And I remember always seeing this one post, and it was, if you can pinch it, you can lose it. And I just remember like, wow, this is a really touchy topic. I just remember like pinching my body and being like, oh, I wish I could lose that. I need a pause. I don't want this to be a sad video. Like, I really don't. But yeah, if I am getting emotional, obviously I am, it's because I'm putting myself in the shoes of 15-year-old me. I just remember hating myself so much. Like, so much. This is supposed to be a positive update video. But now, with the beauty standards changing in the world, I've like really embraced wanting to be thick. And now that I want to be bigger and I want to have curves, it's weird because I realized that like my metabolism is really good. Like, I really didn't need to like do all those things to like fit that standard, because my metabolism is generally really good. And for those who don't know, like the reason why I was so like insecure about weight gain when I was in high school was because I started medication for my depression and anxiety, and a side effect of it is weight gain. And I was just like I was in shock when I like started gaining weight. It was really quick. It just made me feel like I was out of control. And eating disorders are not always beauty based. It's not always about ideal beauty, the perfect woman, the perfect man, like the perfect body. It's also tied with control. I felt like I didn't have control in my life. I felt like everything was out of my control, and I felt like the one thing I could control was starving myself, and I got like a high out of it. I felt high when I was so hungry for not eating right. I was like, I can push myself to do more. I can push myself for another day without it, like without food. Like I can push myself more.
Okay, I'm so messy. Side note, I remember, so my parents are Muslim. I'm not Muslim, but my parents are Muslim, and my dad would do this thing where he would like fast, and he would always tell me like how good it felt. Like he wouldn't eat for like 6 days and only drink tea and water, and he'd always say like he felt so good, like just detoxing. He really like loved to do that.
I've always been a really competitive person to myself, always trying to be my best, and a healthy way of being that and doing that for me is running. I did cross-country running, and I remember running and pushing myself like I want to give up, but still running, still picking up my feet, still going. And that kind of control and that kind of like feeling to me, I got like a high off. Always being competitive with myself, always trying to be my personal best. I took that and made it an unhealthy coping mechanism with my body by pushing myself. Oh, maybe I can do another day. And even like trying to deceive the people around me by overcompensating as in always talking about how much I loved food, always talking about how much I love to eat. And whenever I was around people, that's when I would eat the most, because I wanted people to like think that I was eating a lot and that I was just naturally skinny, which I probably fucking was. Like I am naturally skinny, because now that I'm trying to gain weight, like it's so hard to gain weight, okay? But yes, of course, because I was on medication, it was making me gain weight really quickly. And when I started starving myself and experiencing that high of beating my personal best, that control issue that I had was very unhealthy. And now that the world is embracing curves, thank God, embracing thick bodies, I'm seeing more women show their roles. Like, that's beautiful. The fuck? Even being in high school, we weren't at the stage of like, oh, you got a big juicy ass, that's hot. We were at the stage of, oh, she's a fucking bitch, her ass is big anyways. Like, that was an insult. Having a big ass was an insult, which is crazy, because now if someone was like, oh, you got a big ass, I'm like, ooh, thank you, you know what I mean? Now that I'm in self-isolation and I have the time to focus on my health, focus on my exercise, I've always really been into Pilates and stretching, and now making myself eat a lot and not feeling bad about it, making myself like bulk up, taking my vitamins. Like before, I would look at the back of food and be like, whoa, there's so much this, so much that, so much this, that's too much, I don't want it. And now I look at it and I'm like, wow, there's lots of protein in here, there's lots of this, there's lots of that, and I eat it and I feel good about myself. Now I can look at the back of things, and instead of like counting the calories, instead of like making myself feel bad for consuming something that has substance, now I'm looking at it and I see it in a totally different way. I'm looking at it and being like, wow, like that's gonna help me grow muscle. Like, wow, that's gonna help me get a little bit of fat on me. Like, wow, like I need to eat this, and I need to eat a lot of this because I wanna, you know, have curves. To me, it's like such a huge step in my journey and something I'm so personally proud of, because give me 6 years ago, I wouldn't dare. Like, I wouldn't dare say that like, oh my god, I gained weight, I'm so happy about it. Like today I texted my friend and I was like, oh, like I've gained weight and I'm really happy about it. Like I would have never said that. I would have never even like admit that. I would never even like brag about gaining weight, and now like I'm happy to gain weight and I'm like, I want to gain more weight. It's a really big improvement, whether it's because of me learning to love myself more or whether it's because society's changing their ideal beautiful woman into a more curvier, healthier, you know, bulkier woman. It just means that I'm eating a lot of what I already eat and like not feeling bad for eating a lot of it. I'm a vegetarian, so I was about to sneeze. I'm a vegetarian, so like as a vegetarian, of course you can gain a lot of weight, but I also don't like eat cheese. I don't drink milk. Really, what is there for me to like gain so much weight from? I guess, apart from like sugar. I'm proud of myself for not being so scared to gain weight, because even when I was going through therapy for it and my psychiatrist, like, because my psychiatrist weighed me, and so when I was going to therapy, when I wanted to like stop this control issue of losing weight, I remember when I gained a bit of weight, it wasn't even like, you know, a kilogram, like I just gained a little bit of weight. There was a specific number I wanted to see on the scale and I did not want to be any more than that number. I don't want to talk about that number because it's actually such a low number. There was this one number that was just stuck on my head. Like it was just this like reoccurring number that I wanted to be, and it was just this number, and anything above that was like the end of the world to me. And I remember when I was telling this to my psychiatrist, he was like, you gotta let go of that number you want to see, because that number is different in the morning, that number is different after you eat, and that number is different in the nighttime, and that number is different after you take a shit, man. Like, just get rid of that like number in your head that you are cycling over. Back then when I did gain a bit of weight and I went over that number, it made me go even worse down this rabbit hole of not eating and starving myself and like having this control issue, because I was like, I couldn't even like be above that number. Anytime I was, and I was like trying to be okay with it and like trying to be happy with it, like I would take one step forward by gaining that weight, and then I would take 10 steps back by losing double the amount, than being 10 times lower than that number that I was already happy with. So it's a huge improvement for me, and maybe some of you guys won't understand. Some of you guys will be like, I fucking feel you, bitch. Like, I'm proud for reaching 200,000 subscribers. Like, I'm proud for moving. Like, I'm proud for my travels. I'm proud for the store, but I'm really proud of this one, because this one could have killed me, and it could have ruined my body, it could have ruined the way I see myself, it could have ruined my relationships if I kept this number cycling in my head, if I kept these like bad habits up. And now it's like gone. So I'm like super happy about that. I really don't even know if I'm gonna post this up, because it's so weird to like brag about something like this, but like I'm so happy that I'm like okay with gaining weight. Right before this video I checked my number on the scale, and like I am up by so much more. And I like had the fattest smile, and that's when I was like, I gotta make this video, because like 6 years ago, if I saw what I saw on the scale today, like I probably wouldn't go to school. To me, that's like such a huge improvement. You can recondition your mindset, and don't wait for a trend to start for you to start loving yourself. Like, work your way to it. It is also me like learning to accept who I am as a person that has like helped me be okay with this, that when I look on the scale and it's a bigger number, the biggest number I've ever been, like being happy about it, like smiling about it, like telling my friends about it, being like, yes. Like, I think it's also because like I've spent a lot of this time during isolation like doing a bunch of squats, building my muscle, like focusing on taking the right vitamins, my iron, my protein, my vitamins, vitamin B, etc. I guess sticking to that kind of routine, not being afraid to eat. Oh, this is such a weird video. Please be nice to me, because I really don't like this video. It's really uncomfortable, it's really touchy, but I guess I'm making this because I don't feel like I'm gonna fall back down. Like, I don't feel like I'm gonna go back into that weird obsessive control issues that I had. I also don't have body dysmorphia, which I used to, according to my psychiatrist, and like now I look at all those old photos and I was like, bitch, like you were so fucking skinny, like what? Like, I did not see that when I was like young. Like, my eyes were clouded.
To add here, when I refer to like my eyes being clouded and like not really seeing myself for what I was or who I was, It's because in my head I was unattractive, I was ugly, I was whatever, all these negative things. Basically, I hated myself. And to me, people who were unattractive at the time were big women. And so I thought, because I felt unattractive and because I am unattractive, I saw myself as an unattractive person like that, and I wasn't.
Let me know what other videos you want me to make relating to this topic, whether it's you want to see what I eat, whether you want to see my routine or my workout routine or my stretching routine. I think the last one I posted was 2-3 years ago, so a lot has changed, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Love you all. Take care. Bye!